Let's give it a clap in a 3, a 2, a 1, a clap.
All right, I have clapped my hands. In this car, clapping your hands means, I don't know.
Jorkin de Petus Vance.
Jorkin de Penis Vance, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
What's up, gamers? How are we? Episode 3.
Welcome to the Softlock
Oh my
Cafe.
fucking god! The topics menu's been overrun. Sorry, I just opened it. Oath put so much shit. Brother, we have an hour.
Oh, okay.
Square Penix. Something I would like to touch on. Because this has gotten a fucking addendum every week since I added it to the fucking topics list like 3 weeks ago since we recorded. JoJo Siwa on Big Brother. Holy fucking god. What an absolute fucking clusterfuck of a fucking every time that like we go to record, there's something new to add. So first and foremost, Mickey Rourke got kicked off the show for calling her the F slur. Just full on said a slur, and they're like, all right, fucking no more Mickey Rourke on Big Brother anymore.
Listen, this JoJo Siwa situation is insane. Welcome into the podcast, everybody.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the fucking our clickbait title. The JoJo Siwa situation is insane.
This JoJo Siwa situation is crazy.
Yeah, so fucking Mickey Rourke, he calls her the F slur. He gets kicked off. Fucking boof, gone into the abyss. Then apparently they convinced her to piss in a litter box on camera for television.
They did do that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is crazy. And then she fucking was cheating on her girlfriend with a guy, and she's like, hey guys, I don't think I'm gonna identify as queer anymore. I think I'm gonna be bi now, which, you know, good for you. But like fucking like I don't know how, like, what has Big Brother done to this poor girl? And then you apparently have even more new tea since I've last been kept up.
I do have more new tea. So they were photographed together on vacation now. Like, she was laying on top of him, essentially, and they were, like, on one of those sun tanning chairs on the beach. Mm-hmm. So they've, like, officially moved on to vacation fuck buddies is where we're at with that.
That is what happened to our poor little gay girl?
I think someone just needs to, like, you know you know the filthy Frank meme, he holds up the clock. It's time to stop.
Yes. It's
time to stop. You're pissing in litter boxes on television. Like, oh my god.
That is the official time to stop.
It's time to stop. You get a pass for being a little bit weird after, you know, maybe you did a couple of dances that people didn't like, you know, maybe you're a little aggressive with your arms, you know.
Hey, listen, honestly, Karma's a bitch. She should have known better.
She should have known better. Is the problem. That's the problem. Honest to God, she should have most definitely known better. I don't know, though. We don't know her life. Maybe JoJo is not with their partner anymore and they have moved on. But it does seem an awful lot like they met. I don't know if they've met before Big Brother, because honestly, it's hard for me to care enough to look it up, because it's like, fair. I see everything I've learned has been unwilling.
It's been forced on me through Twitter.
I have not one singular time willingly learned about the JoJo Siwa and Chris, whatever his last name is, on Big Brother situation.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling this week? I hear, I don't know how much you want to talk about, but I know it's your last week at work.
Yeah, so I work at school, by the way. I don't know if we've mentioned it or not. I work at a school. I'm a teacher. And fucking today's last day of school. I literally, school let out. I went to the bar, had a couple drinks with teachers. They're like, bye, I have to go record my fucking podcast later, losers. And now here we are.
We're so cool.
I'm so cool.
We're so cool. You turn your cam on in Discord?
No.
I ask one thing. I just want to look at somebody. I want to make a soul connection when I'm podcasting with someone, and it just can't be bothered to happen. I can't make a soul connection.
I don't know if I'm going to do this right or not, but
the woke have taken it from us. Remember, I think you have to start the virtual camera in
Shut
OBS
up.
as well.
I know what I'm doing.
No, there you go. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Another cardigan. He's 3 for 3.
Let's go. All right. So you ended up your last week of school.
Yes, last week's school. I am ready for the fucking summer, dude. I will not be doing summer school because how it works in my district, it's like end of school, you have a 3-week gap, summer school, you have a 3-week gap, and then you're back at school. For a broke bitch like me, those 3 to 3 weeks are hard. I literally had to do a fucking stream to, like, it was called the Pay My Rent-a-thon because I could not fucking pay my rent because I'm poor and can't just afford to take 6 weeks off in the summer. So I applied at the movie theater by my house. And so hopefully I get to work at the movie theater this summer, and then we can talk a lot more about movies on the podcast.
Are you gonna be one of those cool movie theater guys that like give people extra like deals on popcorn? Like you look up the deals and you like know them, and you'll like scan some stuff and like get them a couple dollars off of popcorn or something.
If that is something doable, I will 110% do that shit.
Yeah, and then like people will tip you sometimes for that. I will never tip a guy in my life, unfortunately, but
fucking Oath hates the working class. Capitalist Oath strikes again.
Let me tell you right now, I just have to be for real. I think tipping culture is toxic. I think that playing into tip culture is just not appropriate. I think we should all abstain from tipping culture until the place where they're employed has to actually pay them a livable wage.
Yes, but no. Right mindset, wrong solution. Because by doing that, you're not hurting the corporation any. You're literally just hurting the workers.
Right, but then the workers would quit, and there would have no workers, and they would have to change their business strategy at that point, right?
So I mean, at that point, just boycott the business, because then you're hurting the business's bottom line.
It's still just them quitting, right?
Yes, but no. Because like you're hurting the business's bottom line as opposed to just not is still partaking in the service, showing that you support this business. You just don't support their workers.
Yeah, but I feel like wait, at no point are we supporting the business. How are
yes, you are. If you're partaking in a service and then you're not tipping the worker, that is partaking
nobody's going anymore. The waitresses are quitting.
How are we not tipping if we're like... If you never go, there's no opportunity to not tip. If you're willingly choosing to... But if you're... That's not what you said.
But when I do go, I also don't tip. But I don't go very often.
That's the problem. Don't do that. That's the wrong answer.
Yeah, but why do I have to make up for the business's shortfall? Why do I have to make up for where they have failed? Yeah, but I can't just... They ask for tips everywhere now. You can't even go, like, you can't go anywhere without being asked for a tip.
Like, it does depend on the service, right? Like, if a fucking, like, I don't know, like
Jersey Mike's. I go to Jersey Mike and they're just making the sandwich. There's no service being done. They're just making the sandwich, and they ask for a tip every time. Like, I'm not tipping you for making my sandwich.
That makes sense for not tipping, because like those people they're also paid like a minimum wage, like, you know, like an actual standard. Whereas like workers get paid sub minimum wage, which is the expectations of tips to subsidize their like wages. So you should tip those people. Those people work their ass off. Those people deserve a tip. However, people that are already making...
they deserve a livable wage. They don't deserve my money. They deserve the business's money for the services they have rendered.
Yes, but they also like have to, like, you know, check up on your table and fucking do like multiple rounds of like bullshit. Whereas like it's not just it's like a consistent service as opposed to just here's your shit, have fun. You know?
Yeah, for sure. But it's just a broken system.
It is. The system is inherently flawed. Don't get me wrong. But how we tackle addressing that system needs to not just fuck the workers and not fuck the business.
It's true. Speaking of broken systems, have you seen all of the Summer Games Fest stuff this year?
I've seen literally nothing of Summer Games Fest because I knew you would talk to me about it.
Oh man. So this is something that I'm excited about. I'm like a big gaming event guy. I love like watching all of the shows. You know, you got the Game Awards in December. This is your like mid-year game, like, ooh, halftime, you know, here's the first half of the year type shit. Like the fiscal year just ended. So there's a lot of stuff like now that the new fiscal year has begun, a lot of companies have begun rolling out their new ad campaigns and rolling out, you know, the stuff for the next fiscal year, because towards the end of the fiscal year, it always gets a little dry. And now that we're in the new fiscal year, it's going to get good again. So Summer Games Fest, there's going to be like 7 shows. It's over the course of 3 days. The main event is going to be just June 6th at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is maybe the weirdest time possible you could ever do that. Sure. Because it's 2 p.m. on the West Coast. It's 5 p.m. on the East Coast. So like people are barely getting out of work on the East Coast, and they're definitely at work on the West Coast. And then in Europe, it's 11 p.m. So it's like the weirdest possible time they could do this.
Hell yeah.
But there's a lot of really cool rumors for like what's going to be at the main show. The one that I wanted to talk to you about, because I know that you're a big fan of this specific game, is the FF9 remake announcement. There's been heat. They have started sparking up the little flames. There have been rumors, and let me tell you why. This is I have a whole layout as to why this is the time for FF9 remake.
The reason he wants to elaborate is because rumors have been circulating like literally since the 7 remake was announced. They're like, oh, so 9's next probably, right? And so I'm skeptical. We've been saying 9 remake coming for like several years now. So this is him putting my skepticism to bed.
Yeah, or not. We'll see. So Square Enix, as I just mentioned with the fiscal year, they just moved into their new fiscal year, which means that they will be like they announced their new business model. And the way that they announced their new business model is that for the 2025 through 2028, the next 3 years, they're going to be in a phase called the reboot period for them. And then after 2028, they're going to go into what they call the rebirth period. And what that means, based on everything that I've seen and everything they put out, is essentially that they're going to cut off a lot of the chaff from Square Enix. They're not going to be making Balan Wonderland 2. They're not going to be making they're not going to be making Forspoken 2. I know that they obviously weren't the only ones that worked on that. They're not. So there's a lot of extra games that don't do well. They're probably not going to be doing Phoenix Wright. They're probably, things like that.
That one's kind of sad, actually. Phoenix Wright things.
They, to be fair, they could do that, but that is unfortunately just not really a big seller for them. And
yeah, I'll say it's more of a cult classic than anything. Like, they are really good games, just fucking no one plays them.
So instead of that, their main structure and focus is going into games like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, things like that. Those are their 3 really like major franchises, which leads me to think that there's probably going to be a higher release in terms of like Final Fantasies, Dragon Quest, and Kingdom Hearts. Now, what this also means is that like games like Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which just got canceled and has been in development. Yeah, it has been in development for like 6 years. It was going to be a GPS style Kingdom Hearts game, and like
similar to Pokemon
Go. Yep. Yeah, terrible idea, right? Anybody could have told them that, and it was just like obvious that it was not a good idea, so they canned it. But this like opens up the door for these other games to come through, because they actually lost $140 million on canceled projects in the last like 2 years. So they have actively just thrown like all of their employees at these major projects instead of splitting up all of their employees and like outsourcing to other companies. So they're going to be focusing on their mainline games. They're going to be not outsourcing, and they literally called this phase the reboot phase. This is the perfect time for the Final Fantasy IX remake to be announced. The start of the reboot phase. You know what I mean?
So have they even whispered the words Final Fantasy IX?
Yes. There have been rumors swirling, and obviously nothing confirmed, but there have been the usual suspects on Twitter talking about it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me that would be a point in the FF9 remake is coming. Also, what? I got a little Moogle shirt on for just the occasion.
Love that guy.
Dude, man, I say fucking a lot. We were talking about vocal stims that we may or may not say too much on the podcast. I've been fucking a lot this episode. The Oblivion remake came out just as the Sky Oblivion project was approaching its completion. I believe it was set to be completed at the end of this year or whatever. So basically, you have a fan remake of a popular game coming out, and the company is like, wait, this is like getting traction. People are excited about this. Why don't I just release the thing instead? Final Fantasy IX has something similar. The Moguri mod is basically like a digital remaster and like a lot of quality of life improvements.
I've seen that.
Yes, and that launched, I believe, October of last year. So like it is done, and it has been doing very well. And so I think similar vein, Square Enix is like, oh, people are really messing with Final Fantasy IX now. It's like one of the only ones that hasn't been updated in a long time. Like 6 is like another popular one. It got the Pixel remaster. They did a remaster of 8 recently. 10's gotten a re-release. So 9 is like really one of the only ones that Square hasn't, of like their super popular ones, that they haven't redone themselves lately. So that is
just
another
to interject
thing.
quickly. Yeah. You do know that FF9 is like guaranteed, right? It is 100% confirmed because of the leaks that happened. Like there was a hack in the Square Enix database, and they like the Sony database, and they literally just leaked like games for the next 8 years basically, and FF9 was on that list. So it is essentially confirmed that it does exist. I don't know. Have you caught that news before?
I have. It's just there were some things that were also wrong in the Sony leaks, and so like it's hard to know what to like. It's definitely like, oh, this could happen, but I'm not like holding my breath on it based off of Sony leaks, you know?
Yeah. I also think that they're guaranteed going to change the way that they move forward because of those leaks, right? They're not going to adhere to that same schedule specifically to be like these leaks are to discredit them and to like apply as much doubt on that as possible. But
yeah, never let them know your next move.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because the Square Enix, like, especially with canceling Missing Link was seen as like the one blocker for Kingdom Hearts 4 to be released, because Nomura himself was like, hey, Missing Link is going to be the bridge between 3 and 4. So now that Missing Link is gone, the pathway is open for 4. I do think that...
Does that not mean they're going to have to rewrite a bunch of 4 now? Or are they just going to do like a 1 and 2 fucking figure it out after the fact?
They might just turn that shit into like an anime, because the Square Enix recently parted with a major Japanese broadcasting company. I think it's called TBS, and I think that they're going to partner with them to make some sort of show about Kingdom Hearts to kind of bridge that gap. And I assume it's just going to be an anime. I think that is what Missing Link will turn into, is Missing Link Kingdom Hearts the anime. Gotcha. You heard it here first. If that happens, I want a cookie.
You want a cookie? What would the anime be about? What even was like the story of Missing Link? You know?
No.
Because like the beta was out for a while.
Yeah, so there. If you want to find out what the story's about, you absolutely can. I just never did, because I do think that story will be told in some way, shape, or form at some point. And I would rather it be told in the way that Nomura wants to tell it, instead of like... It's like with the Insomniac Wolverine leaks, and they like showed the game, and like even with the GTA 6 leaks, like... The trailers that they showed, and like I would rather experience it how it's meant to be experienced, instead of like in the development version, or like, you know, not completed, or maybe just not at all, right? Maybe they don't want to tell that story, and then fuck it, I don't care anymore. But so beyond the FF9 remake announcement, so another I guess I'll call this portion the Summer Games Fest rumor mill, because there are a lot of rumors going around, but some things I think are more tangible than others. I think Resident Evil 9 announcement. Okay. Highly likely. I think it is time for one. I think
when did it come
Capcom, out? Resident Village came out. I will look that up.
Live fact checking.
Yeah, we love live fact checking. This is 2021. It has been 4 years since the initial release of Village.
And this was fact checked by real American electricians.
To be clear, though, RE7 was dropped in 2017. So it was 4 years between 7 and 8. So it's almost assumed that there would be 4 years between 8 and 9.
They're going to hit us with like a Diablo Immortal. I was like, and it's out today.
Yeah, well, development cycles are getting shittier, so that could just be copium. Speaking of copium, Half-Life 3, of course, you know, the 20th. Well, no, I think honestly, it's not going to happen at Summer Games Fest probably, but I think it would happen at like a Steam showcase for sure.
Sure. Because is Steam doing their own showcase?
Not in this portion.
Okay. Because I was like, what? Has Valve even released a game in a while? They did. They were Deadlock, right? That was the Valve like hero shooter kind of.
Yeah.
Like Smite
Deadlock
almost.
is currently in. I guess you call that beta still.
Yeah. But has Valve done anything since then? Even before that was like the last thing Valve did.
I feel like Valve has Alex. I think was the 2020.
Wasn't that a fan mod? Wasn't that not actually Valve? And
no,
then
Half-Life Alex released with the Steam VR. It was made by Valve for the Steam VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they've been pretty dormant for a while though. So
definitely. I think Half-Life 3, they also had a major update with the 20th anniversary where they had the big documentary that came out at the end. Gabe said, the only reason we would ever make Half-Life 3 is if we had the capability to really innovate in the space. Sure. And he said, I think we are at that point where we can really innovate in the space. So he essentially confirmed that Half-Life 3 was coming because the game is in the development cycle of a game, and he thinks that he could do something innovative, basically, to like change the way that games are development, or
yeah, he hit us with the George Lucas. It's like, damn, I came up with this cool prequel trilogy. We just don't have the tech to be able to film it yet.
Yeah. So that's my I literally have it in bold. Half-Life 3 copium.
You do.
The Fable release date. I think that the Fable has gotten 2 trailers in the past like 3 years. I think it's pretty much time for the Fable release date.
Is this Fable 4 or is this Fable 1 remake?
It's Fable 4. It's Fable 4. Yeah.
I don't keep up. Fable is never my cup of tea.
That'll probably happen at the Xbox Game Showcase. That one's on June 8th. That's different from the main showcase. And then Hollow Knight Silksong, I mean, they announced at the Switch 2 Direct randomly that Hollow Knight was coming out this year, or Silksong was coming out this year.
Yes, they did know. I remember us talking about that already. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're the only logical place for them to like do a full reveal would be here. I think that like a smaller, like this is the biggest show for the next, like until December. And it doesn't make sense unless they're doing like it drops today, which they did do for Hollow Knight. They'll probably do, I think Cherry will probably end up doing the same for Silksong, but I just think genuinely, this is probably one of the only times, if they don't do it here, where would they do it? You know what I mean? Unless they're not going to do a full reveal, but that doesn't make sense because they showed up at the Nintendo Direct. And then there have been rumblings that the leakers have leaked that there is potentially the Witcher 1 remake, which has... The leaks have already essentially confirmed it to be coming out, but there have been rumors that they're going to officially reveal it at the event, the Summer Games Fest main event. Beyond
CD Projekt
that,
they really don't do like remakes and remasters a lot, have they? Because they pretty much they just put out bangers and then they're like, all right, have fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could call what they did with Cyberpunk, like they just made the game a good game. I don't know if that's really a remaster, but they did a lot of work on that post-release. I mean, they're just really good at releasing DLCs that are crazy. Is the thing. When they release a game, they make the game good, and then they drop the most banger DLC you've ever played in your life.
This is true.
They did that with Witcher 3 with Blood and Wine. They did it with Cyberpunk 2077 with Phantom Liberty.
What was it? Wild Hunt, like the biggest Witcher 3 DLC? Like so much of that, like that's why they call the new...
That's just the name of the game is Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That is the base game.
I don't know shit because I haven't played any of the Witchers or CD. I guess I'm not as CD Projekt Redhead.
I wouldn't say I'm a CD Projekt Red. I am a Witcher head though. I have all the books. I've played 1 and 3. I've not played 2 because 2 is the hardest one to play.
Nerd.
Pussy.
Speaking of pussy.
Oh,
hear me out on this. I don't know why I was thinking about this. So Vision in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is derived from Tony Stark's like butler AI J.A.R.V.I.S, right? They like put him in a body, gave him the Mind Stone, was like, congratulations, you have sentience now. Can you?
Yeah.
If I was Vision, I don't think I'd be able to look Tony Stark in the eye. He knows every fucking porn search he's ever searched ever.
Surely he's using incognito on J.A.R.V.I.S though, right? For his porn. He's like,
how are you gonna
J.A.R.V.I.S on the
how are you gonna keep out the fucking sentient AI that lives in your walls?
It's incognito mode. I don't know. He's Tony freaking Stark, man. He built the suit in a cave with a box of scraps.
And what he didn't build was a fucking firewall to keep out J.A.R.V.I.S. J.A.R.V.I.S knows everything Tony's ever jerked it to.
J.A.R.V.I.S, forget what I searched up last week.
It just has like him like fucking like mind erase himself. It's like, sorry, J.A.R.V.I.S.
J.A.R.V.I.S, forget that I exist.
Yeah. So fucking I don't know. There's just something I was thinking about. Like because like there's always the meme like, J.A.R.V.I.S, show me this guy's balls. J.A.R.V.I.S has seen so many balls. Just slapping against whatever Tony wants him slapping against.
Some would argue that J.A.R.V.I.S has seen every ball.
Speak to
possibly.
That. Have you ever taken a picture of your balls?
Have you ever had a dream that you would
dodging the question? That's crazy.
All right, so but before we get too far away from the Summer Games Fest stuff, I did want to also just talk about the events. They have a lot of cool diversity events. So beyond the, okay,
I want you to answer if you took a picture, if you've ever taken a picture of your balls or not.
I've not. No.
Then J.A.R.V.I.S hasn't seen your balls, probably.
I have, like, I've taken picture of full junk, but never just like solo dolo balls. You know, I've taken the full Johnson though.
Okay, well, if your balls are in the picture, that is a picture of your balls. I hate to bring.
Yeah, but it's like it's from this angle. I'm not doing the undercarriage cameras. Not like they're like visible for real.
The from under angle.
I'm not hitting them with the fucking googe angle. You know what I mean? I'm hitting them with the. You know, I'm trying to make it look as big as possible. I'm hitting with the fucking 0.5 zoom. I'm hitting them with making sure the lighting is perfect, you know? You gotta really... you gotta really produce that shit, all right? Don't
go and throw up some tasteful dong pics, please.
Why would you? Why?
Why not?
We want to be monetized. We want people to come on. We literally had one of the devs for Expedition 33 say he would come on the pod if he knew English.
And then I was like, hey, what if I got a French translator? And you said, no, fuck off.
Yeah, because he already said no, and I'm not gonna I don't want to push it with that guy. All right, what if he tells everybody about us? You know,
He's like, wow, these guys are fucking sick. They went out of their way to get accommodations for me to be on their podcast. How cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe I'll hit him back. I don't know. Stop. Get out of my head. Get out of my head.
Hey, this Hitman's head rent free.
So beyond the main event and beyond the Xbox Game Showcase, you've got the Day of the Devs, which is going to be a focus on indie developers specifically. Sure. You've got the Wholesome Direct, which is going to be a focus on, cozy games, family games. The games you might be likely to see here are like Infinity Nikki, Stardew Valley. You might see,
Stardew Valley? Imagine Stardew Valley 2?
I think he's working on something called the Haunted Chocolatier actually right now. So there's no Stardew Valley 2 in the works, but there is a new style of game coming from him, which is super cool. There's also the Women-Led Game Showcase. It'll be June 7th at 1 p.m. So whether it be like women developers or women main characters, those kind of games are going to be showcased specifically. You've got the Latin American Game Showcase, which is going to be at 2 p.m., which is going to be super cool, I think, because there's not a really large Latin American focus in gaming. So I'm going to be definitely tuning into that to see
do we know anything that's like on the docket for that?
No, I genuinely nothing. I think that's what I'm just going to be excited to tune in. It's going to be the day after the main event at 2 p.m. I think it'll be Sunday. So the only thing that happens on Saturday is the main event and the Day of the Devs, and then Sunday is going to be a really big day, and then there's only one thing or two things on Monday. So there, beyond the Latin American Game Showcase, there's the Future Game Show, which talks about a lot of the, just games that are pushing the boundaries of development, very unique concepts. I always like tuning into that show because there's usually 2 or 3 games that end up popping off really hard that get announced there, PC only type stuff.
Sure. How much it is actually? It's what? Give me some examples because I'm having trouble envisioning. Because everyone's like, oh, we're pushing the boundaries of what games can be, and then it's just fuck, I don't know, ooh, it's a bigger open world. What are some games that have popped off from this?
So yeah, we can take a look at the Future Game Show. I think that obviously they're a little bit up their own ass by calling themselves the Future Game Show. There's really no, there's no getting around. If you're calling yourself the Future Game Show, you might be a little bit up your own ass.
Sure.
So in terms of the history of their announcements, let's live fact check. We're going to look this up.
I love hitting you with questions you're not prepared for.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Firebreak, Cronus the New Dawn, System Shock 2, Chain of Freedom, Revenge of the Savage Planet, Greedfall 2. Greedfall 1. Listen, I don't like Greedfall 1. I gotta be honest. I watched a good bit of the Co-Carnage play through that game in the mornings because I was at that time working in the mornings, and so while I was working for my Apple call center job, I would pull up Co-Carnage and watch a ton of that. But, a lot of that's kind of what you mean by Future Game Show, right? Because Expedition 33 pushed the boundaries.
Yes, I've literally heard of one of these games that you've talked about. That could be
System
a me
Shock
issue.
2 is. Yeah, no, that's for sure a you issue.
Okay.
100%. And then the last show, where they're going to end it off, is actually the PC Gaming Show, which is my least favorite show, but Day9 hosts it. And if you know Ball at all, Day9 is the GOAT of broadcasting. He was around
really
for
is.
StarCraft 2 broadcasting.
Everyone knows that.
He is just the GOAT, and I always like to tune in for him. He has a lot. It's also... Unfortunately, even though I don't end up playing a lot of games from that showcase, I do end up I like games, y'all. I do. I just like looking at games. So, I think one of the big things that I'm coping on this year is I'm really hoping for during the Xbox showcase for there to be a crumb of Elder Scrolls 6 copium. Maybe a crumb of that. But
yeah, we even heard a whisper since the announcement trailer back. Oh, was it 10 years ago? 12 years ago?
Yeah, 2014, I believe is when or not even 2014. I think it was 2016. But we have heard not a crumb of pussy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do think there was some light confirmation that it was
2018. Calm down, it wasn't that bad. Still 7 years.
That's 7 years. Yeah, but there's some light confirmation that it's going to be in the High Elf land, I believe. Elsewhere is what they said.
Elsewhere is the fucking Khajiit land, dumbass.
Okay, well maybe that's I'm saying the wrong name, or maybe it is just Ellsworth. It's either
I believe it was Hammerfell, or I also heard.
Yeah, it's Hammerfell.
Hammerfell's the red guards. For those of you playing.
Shit.
Your ass. You're so ass.
I don't know.
I also heard it was going to be Hammerfell, or what is the high elf one? I will fact check.
We're fact checking, chat. A lot of fact checking this episode.
It's called Altmer. No, Altmer is literally just elf.
Altmer is the name of the race, I believe.
Yeah, Altmer just means elf.
High elf.
Somerset Isles.
Skyrim.
Of course, I do that.
Yes, Somerset Isle, of course. Yes. No, but I don't think it's that. I think it's Ellsworth for sure. Possibly.
It's not going to be the KG homeland.
You can quite literally correct us in the comments, chat. Let us know where it actually is, because I don't know.
People said that they were assuming northwest, and the two that are in the most northwest are Somerset Isles and Hammerfell. It did not
Hammerfell
look quite.
Sounds right.
I say it did not look quite deserty enough to me to be Hammerfell, but so like I'm also leaning more towards Somerset Isle, but I heard a while ago that it was Hammerfell. Also, in super professional podcaster, I'm gonna go take a piss real quick.
Oh my god, yeah,
bye.
Leave that in, Yagog. Now I just have to fill time. You know what? Honestly, so think about this for a second, right? Everybody's been talking about this 100 men versus a gorilla, and talking like they've been debating about it, right? And I think that most people can agree that 100 humans would beat the gorilla. I think if you're saying no, you just don't know ball, right? Of course 100 humans can overwhelm the gorilla. Like, even if we're, like, take all freaky stuff out of the equation, like, you could just quite literally, like, of course, obviously, mentality, like, once that first person gets hit, it's gonna be a little weird, but, like, if we're talking warriors, if you're putting 100 humans, like, obviously, random humans, you know, maybe not, but we're talking, like, 100 average humans, you probably get there, you know what I mean? So, what I was thinking is, what 100 animals could beat a gorilla? Because logistically speaking, do you like 100 ants don't stand a chance? You know, 100 chinchillas don't stand a chance. 100 dogs? I think man's best friend does stand a chance. I think 100 dogs, 100 dogs do beat the gorilla, 100%. What do you think, Z?
What are you talking about?
Would you okay, so I was 100 dogs or one gorilla. Who do you have in a fight?
I mean, dogs have the ability to do more damage than like a guy does, because like, if you know, I'm not gonna outbox the gorilla, and that's like the premise of the thing is like we don't get weapons, and so like, yeah, I think a dog has the ability to do more, because they can just like swarm and like nip, because they got that dog in them, as it turns out, and they like, I feel like they're more reckless. Humans would be like too scared, and like we wouldn't want to just like, hey, you know, like if we send 20 guys up mid, we're going to lose like 10 of you, but then everyone else will be able to make up some ground. I think humans are too pussy for that. And dogs don't think about that shit. They just, they send it up mid. They got that dog in them. So
fight or flight, baby.
Exactly. So I do think that the dogs would be able to take it.
Okay. Yeah. I also,
I mean, it depends on like the type of dog. Like 100 Pomeranians, probably not. Like 100 German Shepherds, probably.
Low-key, I think 100 Pomeranians get there.
I don't.
Low-key, I think they get there. I don't know. I was trying to scale it up, right? Because I think, obviously, most people think that 100 humans would beat the gorilla. Like, I think that's probably, like, because even, like, biological people have come up and be like, yeah, this is obvious, 100 people could beat one gorilla. But I was trying to scale it up.
Wrong. I don't think 100 humans beat a gorilla.
Okay, well, we don't have to go down that. The point of what I was saying was, though, like, if you have 100 ants, obviously the gorilla would beat the 100 ants, and then we scale it up animal wise. Like, what's the line of animals that they would win versus the gorillas? Because obviously 100 chinchillas lose. I would think 100 cats probably lose. You know what I mean?
I mean, it depends on the cat, right? Like house cat, sure. Lions, probably not.
I mean, domestic, yeah, house cat. Obviously the lions get there, but specifically I'm talking about like my cat. You know, 100 of Alice does not get there. Correct. Put up a picture of Alice, Yagog, so that they know.
100 Jessies also don't get there. I can throw up some Jessies as well.
Throw up some Jessies, Yagog. All right, yeah, but that was, I was just entertaining the masses while you were gone. I think most of that probably doesn't make the cut. So
no, we definitely gotta now that we're here.
Yeah. I do have a game of the week, even though this has been a very game-centric episode. So there have been rumblings, and you might have seen this on social media or on YouTube. There has been a game that has been created a la Mickey Mouse using the public domain because he most recently, he not most recently, but he recently became a public domain figure. So they basically ripped Mickey Mouse, put him
Michael
into
Mouse.
a hand. It's like a hand-drawn first-person psychological horror. The guy who made it is Simon Lukasic. I checked out his portfolio before the show, doing a little bit of research. I know we do a little bit of research on this show,
right.
And
most of it on show. Sometimes we do our jobs and we come to the podcast ready.
Yeah, well, when you throw me like improv questions, sometimes you got to do a little bit of live improv research. But this game is like set in the 1920s. It's like a black and white style game, and his art style is insane. He creates like Lovecraftian horror monsters or something that you would see out of like Junji Ito. So like that's literally what I wrote down. Think Lovecraftian Junji Ito meeting Mickey Mouse. They dropped the release window trailer. It's coming out in summer 2025 this year. So like the next couple months, expect that to be coming out. Sure. There is a demo out right now if you want to go check it out. It's super short and there's not any music. It's a pretty basic demo. I checked it out. If you're looking for like credentials, if you want to check out another game made by Simon, you should check out Bulb Boy. It has got 525 reviews, 4.5 stars, and it is like literally the same exact style, except I don't think that's hand drawn. It is more so like digitally. It's very digitally.
What is Bulb Boy about?
I have no idea.
Sick.
Here, let's look up what Bulb Boy is. All right, Bulb Boy is an intuitive 2D point-and-click game. One gloomy night, Bulb Boy wakes up suddenly from a frightening nightmare to discover that evil has overshadowed the Bulb house. His family disappeared and there are horrid monsters lurking in the shadows. Gather the courage and use his glass head to save everything he loves. And this is so Simon is the founder of the Bulbware company, and That's the developer, that's the publisher, and I think that he's going the same route. So he's self-publishing. He has like 100 followers on Twitter. I made sure to drop a follow, so make sure to go check out Simon Lukasic, Lukasik. You can throw his name up if you feel like it, Yagog. Super cool. That's my game of the week in the game-centric thing. I already have my game for next week. Excited to talk about that, chat, so stay tuned for the next game of the week with Oath.
One of these days, I'm going to pull up with the game of the week, and I'm just going to throw a wrench into all of our plans. Everything's going to go sideways. We're going to be like, oh my god, I didn't know Z knew ball.
Yeah. It's going to be cool to see what game of the week you come with one of these weeks, but yeah, we can circle back. I did want to talk about this one last Summer Games Fest thing since we're talking games again. So right before the show, literally before we were filming this, and we're filming this on the 23rd at like 7 p.m., they literally phoned it in and told me there is going to be a major Japanese game announcement at the Summer Games Fest. Now, they did not say that the leak was not like a company-based thing. It was just said that there will be a major Japanese IP, not a new IP, but like either a sequel or a continuation or like something like that, and it will be a major Japanese game IP. So I'm excited to see. Keep an eye out, maybe tune into our streams because we will be streaming the Games Fest on that day. And we'll be doing bingo. And if you get bingo, you might get gifted a sub on my stream.
Sheesh.
Little self-promo for the stream.
And that would be twitch.tv/this is my oath, right?
Yeah, and it would be twitch.tv/NoticeTheZ for you, right?
NoticeTheD. I'm actually streaming on Pornhub, so.
Oh, baby! Check it out. You talk about have you ever taken a picture of your balls? Have you ever videoed your balls?
I have
for sure.
Never. Actually, yes, I have. I lied.
Yeah, you gotta send it in to your doctor and be like, yo, is this normal when I cough?
No. My ex and I were like in the process of breaking up, and we like filmed some stuff. It was interesting.
Oh, God!
Yeah.
My doctor told me to stop sending him pictures of my junk after the third unanswered text in a row, but, I just really...
Sometimes you just gotta hit send on that.
Yeah, it was important for me to know that he knew what it looked like and that it was normal,
Yeah.
And he was like, please, this is harassment. I'm off the clock with my family. I'm at dinner with my wife and kids. And I was like, all right, my bad. Hey, my bad, man. My bad.
Speaking of dinner, what do you know about Arby's?
What do I know about Arby's?
Yeah.
So the curly fries S tier.
Sure.
The roast beef sandwich with the Arby's sauce, A tier.
By Arby's sauce, do you mean like the
else
beef and cheddar, or do you mean like actual like whatever the fucking Arby's in-house sauce is?
So the beef and cheddar, and then you get like it's in a packet. You ask for the Arby's sauce.
Interesting. What it describe the Arby's sauce for the uninitiated?
Sweet and sour, but more acidic, like an acidic sweet and sour.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that on the beef and cheddar, and it adds just enough moisture to it that it really elevates that experience. It's very good. I don't like the horsey sauce.
Correct. It's horseradish. If you like horseradish, have fun.
But that everything else is dog shit on that menu.
Fair. Have you ever had Meat Mountain?
I have heard of Meat Mountain. I have not had Meat Mountain because it is just like 7 beef and cheddar stacked on top of each other, right?
Wrong. It is 2 ounces of every meat that they have, including chicken tenders.
God has forgotten us.
Yes.
When will our hubris as man stop?
No one really knows. And one of by the way, slogans for Arby's currently is "We have the meats," right? Do you know what their slogan was before that?
We got the meat flaps. You got the bread.
Yep, that's exactly it. And before that, it was "I'm thinking Arby's," right? And they had like this
What a terrible slogan.
It was because they had like these series of commercials where like a person would just be sitting and they'd have like the Arby's hat above their head, and they're like, "Huh, I'm thinking Arby's," and then they go to Arby's and it's fucking stupid.
Oh.
Imagine, if you will, an iteration of the bit.
Okay.
So we have a guy. He's sitting on a couch. And he's like literally unable to stop himself from thinking about Arby's. And he's tormented by the thoughts of reheated meat and different varieties stacked on top of buns in nauseating ways and fried sides. And he's curled up in a ball, crying, mumbles the name of menu items to himself. And then finally, unable to free himself from his mental meat prison, he grabs his car keys, heaving sobs.
This is the commercial?
Yes, this is the commercial.
Oh my god.
This is a commercial I thought of. That they should do. They should bring back.
Oh, this is not a real commercial.
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
Grabs his car keys, leaves with heaving sobs, which occasionally give way to small fits of manic laughter, shouting, "No, not like this. I hate you." And then the next scene shows him at the lobby of the Arby's, totally fine, clean, no signs of duress, smiling while he's chowing down on a roast beef. I don't know how to read my own handwriting. And then the Arby's logo would appear beneath him, and it would say, "Arby's. Let the intrusive thoughts win." So it's like literally just like, it's like, I'm thinking Arby's to the extreme. He can't stop thinking Arby's. Literally, Arby's consumes this man's every waking thought. And then as he like breaks down into like his manic fit of like deteriorated mental state, the only thing that can bring him salvation is Arby's. So Arby's, if you guys want a commercial, hit us up. It's like, we got you.
So I imagine that like this is the ramblings of a divorced dad in the middle of his midlife crisis, and I know that you're not at that point in your life, so I just wonder what went wrong.
So I actually got this from my friend CL, where we met in a Final Fantasy shitposting group of all places, and then we made a group chat with like a couple of members that were cool as shit. And yeah, they just posted it, and they're like, "What was it?" So I sent a bunny rabbit going like this, and then everyone else doing like fingers to like make a little star, including the bunny rabbit.
Oh.
And then they sent a 4chan green post text about how someone started playing Final Fantasy 14 with their brother, and they started playing the cat girl, and now they like fucking meow at people like unironically when they started it as a bit, and now they're like, "Fuck this, like actually just part of my vernacular." And then unprompted, they were like, "I just thought of a fucked up Arby's ad," and then they sent what I just read aloud. I was like, "What the fuck? You're crazy." CL also published author on Amazon, The Man with 10,000 Asses. So if you guys want to go
that on
buy
the
that
screen, Gog.
Yeah,
put that title on screen.
The Man. Put the link up. Go buy the homie's book.
Yeah, we'll put link in description. Link in description.
Go check out The Man with 10,000 Asses.
When you said the bunny ears thing, it reminded me of the new Rivals patch. We were talking about it before we started up the pod. I want to tell you,
famous Marvel Rivals enjoyer, uninstalled the game. He said, "I've had enough."
Yeah, so I hit Celestial Season 1. I was Celestial 3, which apparently is... People don't give cred to that. People say that that's not that hard to get, which I think, honestly, I agree with you up to GM2. GM2 to GM1 is so hard to get through, and then I assume it only gets harder from there, but I think it genuinely was tough to get to Celestial 3, but they have ruined the game in my eyes. They made the dive characters just so strong that as a tank player, I cannot protect my healers in any way, shape, or form. It was just not fun for me to play the game. So in this latest update, as of yesterday, they actually announced a new character. We now have a new flying support. His name is Ultron, if you're ever familiar with...
Let's go! Ultron, my goat! James Spader!
Yep.
So I just started watching The Blacklist, and I was like, damn, this guy fucking fucks. And then they announced that he was going to be the voice of Ultron in Age of Ultron, and I was like... Also, we just talked about Age of Ultron. It all comes full circle. Also, James Spader was Robert California in The Office.
The Office.
He's the fucking Lizard King.
He's the Lizard King, dude. So yeah, Ultron is a flying hero that makes other characters fly. He has the ability to impart flight onto other characters around him. He has
who's that going to ruin? What would be the most annoying character?
Every support character, Luna, Snow,
True.
every time.
I feel like Magic is already annoying, so Magic being able to fly is going to just piss me off.
Yeah, but it's like an area of effect thing, so you can't like dive with the flight effect, as far as I understand. You have to be like close to Ultron to do the flight. So it's like mostly useful in a team fight.
Sure.
Yeah, so he is very much so a team fight centric strategist. He's almost like a DPS strategist. I would say that he's not going to be.
What? Marvel Rivals has never done that before. Look at you, Season 0 Mantis.
Yeah, he's not going to be in a lot of 2 healer comps. I feel like he's going to be in a lot of 3 healer comps. They've existed pretty recently. There's also a new convoy map, so we get a new map to guide our little buddy around the map. But beyond that, the thing that really is important to me and near and dear to my heart is the fact that they put certain heroes in the dirt. And by certain heroes, I specifically mean they put Spider-Man in the dirt, they put Iron Fist in the dirt, they So they took the Punisher infinite ammo out of the game. So Rocket Raccoon and Punisher no longer have that team up. Penny
Does
Parker
he still have it with Bucky?
No, it is removed. Yeah. So Black Panther nerfed, done, absolutely done. And they're just no, I don't think they actually, unfortunately, did not touch Wolverine. That's the one they didn't touch. But I think they touched.
Yeah, because he wasn't dive as much as he was like bully the tanks.
Yeah, I also think they addressed it in a previous patch. I can't say we're 100% certain, but there have been a couple patches. This is the season 2.5, so Ultron has invaded the Hellfire Gala, and it is now like Ultron is basically creating this super version of Ultron, and like the regular version of Ultron from another universe has joined the roster to help combat like bad Ultron, basically.
And he's like, the only one who can beat me is me.
Almost assuredly that will be a voice line. Yeah, that feels like a very Ultron thing to say, but I will reinstall the game and play it because of them putting the DPS dive characters in the dirt. They also removed the Hawkeye and Black Widow. Overwatch pilled.
Yeah, no, I don't know why you would ever confuse those two characters. They're so mechanically different.
They removed their team up, but they added a frozen arrow to Hawkeye. So now Hawkeye can freeze people. Yes, correct. That is the face I made, too.
That seems... Yeah, because is that not the same problem? Just freeze and then you get headshot on the next shot? You get fucked, idiot?
Correct. But his damage... He has more fall-off, and his arrow damage is slightly less. But it is still just the most broken thing you could think of. Like Hawkeye backlining Frieza support dead in, 3 seconds. Like, it's insane.
Hawkeye, more like...
Producer Yegog here. Please don't say cockeye.
Cockeye.
Fuck.
Because he sucks.
Another reason I'm coming back is because they buffed my main, and I'm not addressing that. All right, we're not addressing. Oh,
you got the Scarlet Witch buff?
No. It's Doctor Strange buff.
Woo!
Yeah, Doctor Strange buff, and they're adding a TFT mode to Marvel Rivals. So now you will be able to play TFT in Marvel Rivals. You'll be able to place heroes down. You'll be able to give them additional abilities, go through the rounds. I'm not sure if they said it was a single player experience, so It will not be like player versus player at the moment. Wow. But on launch, it will be a single player experience. That'll be super cool. But I think it's important for us to call shit out like this because look at this compared to Overwatch, dude. The amount of content that Marvel Rivals is able to push out with a smaller game studio. Obviously they're backed by Tencent, so we can't be oh, this is a small dev, but Overwatch from the beginning was a massive IP from Blizzard, and then they were bought by Activision, and it is just from its inception was funded insanely. to a level that Marvel Rivals does not had. Yeah, but fun fact, Activision Blizzard is now gonna get bought by Microsoft. They just got the okay from the courts for like
Let's
all
go!
the
Monopolies! We love monopolies! We hate competition!
So Microsoft will now own Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, and basically everything but Sony, EA, and like Naughty Dog, Insomniac. Like, but the thing is, I'm not... Well, okay, let me be clear. I don't support monopolies,
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. I don't support monopolies, but at least they're putting all of their games on every system. You know what I mean? Their focus is letting everybody play it, because I would hate it that they bought all of this up and then forced us to buy their shitty Xbox Series X or Series S or whatever the current generation is. It's like such shitty marketing to get, like, for brand recognition. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the Xbox.
This is how it begins. They start off with doing it, and then slowly, one by one, it's all going to be Xbox. Xbox all the way down.
But they're not going to drop a new Xbox. Their new strategy is going to be games as a service. So they're going to be doing cloud gaming and like Xbox Game Pass on every platform. Like they're going to put Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation.
Is PlayStation going to allow that?
Almost assuredly, because they would cut it. They would have a deal where they get part of the profits. People
Fair.
will say that would never happen. I think that will almost. My prediction, within the next 2 years, there will be Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation 5 or 6. It will also probably be on, like, I don't think it'll ever be on the Switch though. I don't think you get it in with Nintendo like that, unfortunately.
I also just don't think that the Switch would be able to run half the games on Game Pass.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that would be a major hump. It's like 90% of the catalog would be unplayable.
Yep.
Although it is a PS4, so the Switch 2 comp is just a PS4.
Right.
It is not, which is insane, right? Why can we not? I guess price-wise, like if you want to keep it at $500, it is technically a budget console compared to the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is like $700.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think honestly they've lost the razor blade model. Back in the old days when gaming was first created, they would sell the consoles at a loss. The consoles would just be sold at a loss, and they would make their money on the games. That's why when you go look back in, and some of this is exaggerated, they like to use Canadian numbers for you and like conflate it to US, but games were just $60 and $70 back then as well.
Yeah.
There was a like when they first came out, 60, 70, and then there was a dip because obviously we've had like multiple recessions since the 70s. Woo. But there was a dip down to like $49.99, and then it went back up to $59.99, then $69.99. Now we're at $79.99. And, you know, I assume.
And then soon they're going to be releasing $90 games, and Yaga can't say shit about it. Every game is going to be $90 on the Switch, too.
Yeah, Yagog in my DMs acting like there will not be a $90 game in the next 6 months, and almost assuredly there will be at the Summer Games Fest, or there will be like a direct before the Switch 2 releases, and they will have a game that is broadly that expensive.
Okay, so like that's not what the fuck I said. I didn't say there was never going to be a $90 video game. I never said anything about like that's never going to happen. What I was talking about is what Oath was talking about, where he was saying Mario Kart and later Pokemon are going to be $90, when that's not confirmed at all. And in fact, in the case of Mario Kart, specifically deconfirmed that is the case. So like this is slander, and frankly, fake news.
Because also, even though it is a technicality, I count $70 Breath of the Wild plus $20 DLC. Like, I count that.
Yeah.
How are you gonna remaster a game and not have the DLC included? That's like if they dropped like The Last of Us Part 2 remaster and didn't include like the whole Left Behind part, or like the whole prequel with Ellie and her girlfriend. Or that was in the first one.
Is that not just
would
the
be
game?
insane if they did that. Well, no. I meant the first one. That is the second one too, but I meant the first one. There are multiple Ellie is a lesbian stories in The Last of Us. Neil's been kind of getting dragged through the mud on Twitter lately. There's been like they've been putting out hit pieces that says that Neil Druckmann had a guy to reject his bad ideas and a guy to approve his good ideas. Like they were a team that reviewed every idea he had and like basically vetted his ideas, which to me sounds made up. But
I mean, that sounds
something
good. Like you need to have someone to say no to you.
Well, he got them fired before the start of the second game, so that's why he did get them fired. But it's also like people are like, "You're so shit. You need people to vet your idea like that." You know what I mean? That was like a lot of.
No,
'cause people-
that's
I
just
don't know
smart.
what is.
The hubris required to just be like, every idea I have is a good idea. No one can tell me shit. I'm gonna make what I want to make is crazy.
The problem is he's pretentious enough, and that's what he did for the second game, and the second game was worse than the first game.
Yeah,
But
exactly
speaking of
why having a
developers-
guy is a good idea.
Speaking of developers that are getting dragged through the mud, have you seen the Randy Pitchford Borderlands 4 take?
Yeah, he was
Where
like,
he
real
said,
fans
"You
will
need to
find a
be-"
way to afford the game.
Yeah, if you're a real fan of Borderlands 4, you should be happy to pay $80, was his quote.
Yeah.
And that to me is probably just a recession indicator more than anything.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Indicator?
If you're
Hardly ever.
having if you have a game developer that goes, you should be happy to spend this exorbitant amount of money if you like this game, and it's like literally $20 higher than most of the games dropping, like that is quite literally the most clear recession indicator I could ever see when it comes to gaming.
Throwing it
Oh my
back to
God.
episode 1, Expedition 33, Game of the Year contender, one of the greatest JRPGs ever released, $50.
$50.
What are we doing?
Made by 33-ish people.
Yeah.
Mostly
Imagine.
junior developers and like 3 ex-Ubisoft employees. And like a guy from SoundCloud.
Yeah,
They assembled that
SoundCloud.
game with a box of scraps in a cave!
And they can still get it out for $50. Like, there's so much bloat in AAA gaming that it's insane.
It is incredible what they get away with, because you can drop Black Ops 6 for $60 to $70, and then before you can even play the game, you have to look at the Battle Pass page, and then you have to look at the store page, and then you have to look at the second store page, and then you have to look at their event page, and then you get to matchmake. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
It is the worst UI of any video game, and also the most predatory. It is crazy. But Randy Pitchford is a piece of shit. I don't know how much of this we want to leave in, but he has also been accused of dropping a USB stick full of cheese pizza.
I'm glad you remembered the phrase. You had to think on that for a second.
I did have to think on that for a second. He had a USB stick full of cheese pizza, and he of course was exonerated because he's not in jail, but
Sure.
you know, it is weird that you were accused of that.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing to be associated with.
I've never been accused of eating a cheese pizza.
Correct.
So, like, I don't know.
What is the crime? A succulent Chinese meal?
Nope.
So what you looking at on your phone there? Having a good time?
I'm trying to look up, because I was speaking of bloated ass game developers, GTA 6, surprise, surprise, pushed to 2026, which was one of the things on the contract for friend of the show Skootish to get fired from Doug Corporations. For those who don't know,
Skootish.
Doug was like, I'm going to hire Skootish to just be a guy at the company. And I'm going to pay him like X amount of dollars every single day until one of these list of obscene shit happens. And one of those
It's like
things,
$100 a day, right? Or like $10 a day or some shit.
I don't know. I know he made over. I don't think it was 100, because I know the fact that he made over $1,000 was crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was trying to look up the contract. But
It's like he goes to file unemployment at the office and gets more in unemployment than he did actually getting paid by Doug. Skootish pulls up. He's like, "Oh, here we go, dude." We're putting Yegog to work this episode.
Good. Fucking guy doesn't do enough work.
Guy who doesn't do hardly any. He doesn't do any editing for the podcast.
Yes,
perspective.
Oath does like a lot of the shorts. Yegog will do a short every now and then, but Yegog edits like the main video, and I tell them good bits I think would be good.
You do the chapters.
Yeah, I do the chapters. This is true. And I do like the description and all that stuff. So if anything's ever misspelled, be like, damn, Z's fucking stupid. I can't believe this guy.
It might be just time to do the lesson.
A
This
lesson?
week's lesson. It might just be time for the lesson.
Are we lesson ready?
I think we're lesson ready. If you're lesson ready.
Okay.
Yeah, Gog, are you lesson ready?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. I don't know why we paused. Like he was gonna. You know what? Put something. Yeah, are you ready? Put something in.
Give me
The good podcast.
no. I don't want that.
right.
Oh, that Yegog. What a guy.
Oh, that guy's stupid.
He goofs and he gaffs. I am not at the start of the presentation. Hold on.
And make sure you share it with me as well. During this part, it's gonna be like. And like elevator music, and it's gonna be my face like sliding around the screen like a DVD logo, and it might hit the corner, it might not. You just don't know.
I mean, Yegog knows. He's the one doing it.
Oh, he's not doing
my god!
it. I
He's
can
in
almost.
the corner. Oh my god! He just hit the second tower. Oh no! All right, so welcome in for today's lesson.
Lesson time.
Professor Z with one last lesson before the summer. Softlock Cafe. So, Oath, what do you know about Waffle House?
So there was that one video of where she caught the chair with one hand, and it was the most aura I've ever seen anyone farm in a single video.
This is true.
That's what I know about. And also, there used to be better.
They used to be better. Yeah, so you might know Waffle House for average breakfast foods, right? You know, they just
queso. Is it AI queso?
you know, just standard amount of breakfast food.
Also, what Waffle House? Hold on, go back. Is that Waffle House or Waffle House, chat?
Oh, that is Waffle
House.
Okay, yeah.
Let's
you know, now I feel
go.
bad for using AI. I literally just typed in search bar Waffle House and grabbed some gifs from
Let's
thing.
go.
Let's go.
All right, so
we have average
breakfast and
food,
queso.
right? You might know them for a moderately hostile eating environment, including the most aura ever farmed by any human being ever.
Yes, that's crazy. She just catches that shit and throws it aside, and she got fired.
Yeah.
What?
So unironically, the Tekken director, he's like, hey, I want to add a Waffle House stage to the game. And then he reached out to Waffle House and they didn't get back to him. And he was like, I'm just going to do it anyway. Fuck him.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. So, based. You might also know about the Waffle House Index, right? This is something a lot of people know about. There's like a literally nationally recognized emergency response program that governments like tend to heed to. That's like, if like shit's going down, check how Waffle House is doing. Like if a Waffle House is closed, get the fuck out. But if they're still chilling, you're probably fine.
Wow. Okay. Okay. This is for like hurricanes, right?
Yeah. Have you never heard of the Waffle House Index?
I have heard of it in passing in like jokes, but I did not know it was a real thing.
This is a real thing. But this, not niche enough. Fucking
Wow.
idiot. Insane you think that we would talk about the Waffle House Index for our lesson, right? That'd be insane.
Okay, why is John Pork hugging AI queso?
Why would he not? At Waffle who's this Waffle
Why is it when he turns around, he kind of turns into the wolf from What Does the Fox Say?
I thought you were going to say
turns
the
into
Wolf
that
Among Us
guy.
because he's in like a fucking sleeveless shirt.
He does also turn it. He just turns into like someone completely different.
But no, did you know that Waffle House has been producing their own music in-house since 1995?
Is this like a jukebox thing?
Kind of. It's available on Spotify. You can look it up right now. Waffle House Records. They have their own in-house production studio where they've been producing and releasing music since 1995.
Is it good?
Would
I know any songs?
No, but they do have. Sorry, 1995. You cannot like go buy the albums that they've released. And Joe Rogers, the guy who's overseeing it, he holds them to high standards. He's like, if this song sounds like an ad, it's not gonna, like, they axe it. They're like, get the fuck out of here. We want real banger ass songs that sound like real music. Some of the bangers
Smack that smiles back, goldfish. like they would throw that out.
they would throw that out. That's an ad.
Wow.
Some of the bangers include, literally, legitimately, my favorite song off of Waffle House Records, because I've listened to more of them than I should have, is There Are Raisins in My Toast by Danny Jones.
What?
Yes.
This is not an ad.
Life is Like a Cup of Coffee, which it just says that Waffle House Records, it didn't give us the co-writer on that one. The
Also
first
an
song
ad?
that they ever released was Saturday Night at My Place by Jerry Garcia. Oh, Gary Garcia. Fuck off. Gary Garcia. Not to be confused with Jerry Garcia. And then the last song that they released was Grill Operator back in April of 20. So yeah, Saturday Night at My Place came out in 1995. Grill Operator, April like 5th-ish, 2020. So this is something they've kept up with.
Yeah, God, put in a 5-second clip of Grill Operator.
It is, in fact, just a parody of Smooth Operator, but they made it Grill Operator. I know, I can't remember all of them off rip. A lot of them are just like covers of songs that they've replaced with Waffle House and Waffle House adjacent lyrics.
This is awful. I hate that.
It's so good.
Bury that.
Yes, but they do have them available if you go to the jukebox at a Waffle House, they have all of these Waffle House produced and released songs.
This is incredible.
My goal is the bar can't be that high, right? Like me and a couple of my music adjacent friends, we could probably release a song for Waffle House Records, right?
Okay. What's your pitch though? Like what kind of song would you make?
So I feel like there's a lot to work with espresso, right? Because it's already coffee related. I know Dunkin' Donuts is kind of already like, sniff that shit.
How would you change the name though?
Of course,
would you change it to like
obviously
Depresso? I don't know.
Depresso because I'm eating at a Waffle House. Fucking me getting my shit kicked in at a Waffle House and it's fucking Depresso playing in the background.
I'm working late because I am a server.
See, the shit writes itself, dude. So yeah. However, do you want to take a side quest real quick?
Have you ever tried this one? Yeah, I'll take a side quest.
So first and foremost, let me be clear. Fuck Chick-fil-A. Because
I do not like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, we don't fuck with them. They donate a lot to a bunch of Republican candidates and specifically just like anti-LGBT organizations. They said in 2020 that they were going to stop
bad chicken too. Also bad chicken.
Also bad chicken. Yeah, because like that's also the thing. Like people go crazy for the shit. The customer service is good, but like the chicken mid. Fucking Popeye's clear.
They changed the chicken. They started getting like they moved away from their like organic non-hormone chicken. Now they get hormone chicken and it is awful.
Mm-hmm. So Popeye's Clears support, a better multi-million-dollar corporation.
Shout out Zaxby's.
Shout out Zaxby's. However, Chick-fil-A started in Waffle House.
Huh?
It was just this dude who was like, "Hey, you guys mind if I like sell chicken sandwiches at your Waffle House?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then Chick-fil-A became way more popular than Waffle House. So Waffle House was like, "Hey, listen, no one's buying our waffles anymore. We are a waffle corporation first and foremost. You need to get out." And so they kicked out Chick-fil-A, and then Chick-fil-A spun off into its own company. And, we've seen the numbers. We know who's winning nowadays. But I just find that really funny that Chick-fil-A started basically out of the back door of a Waffle House.
Chick-fil-A may be winning now, but there will be Waffle Houses 1,000 years longer than there will be Chick-fil-A.
There's no Chick-fil-A records. There's no Chick-fil-A index. I can't go check Chick-fil-A to see what the appropriate response that should be taken during a hurricane. So who's the real winner?
Waffle House will never go away. It will just always exist.
I'm not going to get stabbed in the Chick-fil-A parking lot. So, who's the real winner here? Who has more aura? Waffle House mogs Chick-fil-A in aura.
Yeah, put Waffle House in the ring with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A doesn't make it 45 seconds.
Exactly.
It's going to be like when Ben Askren ran his face into Jake Paul's fist for a fat paycheck. That's literally what Chick-fil-A is going to do. Run their fat Christian chicken into the Waffle House brick door, and then the server's going to catch the tender with one hand, break it in half, and chuck it out the door.
On God. And that
great
has been our lesson for the week. Thank you. Shout out Waffle House Records.
Wow.
Again, wow. You know what? To play us out, throw in a little bit of raisins in my toast.
I've got raisins in my toast. Raisins in my toast.
Honestly, not fucking far off. There are raisins in my toast, raisin toast at Waffle House.
It is just an ad. You said if it sounded like an ad, they'd kick them out. That is just an ad.
You gotta listen to the banger. It's like I don't know.
I'm gonna crash, and that's been the show. Thank you for checking out what's been on the menu. We'll see you next time. Where we talk
comment, subscribe, comment your favorite Waffle House Records song. Comment the next JoJo Siwa drama that is gonna unfold. Predict the next JoJo Siwa drama. Comment your favorite game coming out at Summer Games Fest. Comment if J.A.R.V.I.S has seen Tony Stark's balls. Comment.
I'm going to change the course of my own life forever. I'm going to do it!
Man, that seems like a good place to cut it.